Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a super fun video. This one is just a eyeshadow look, and then I'll probably do a little bit of blush and what I'll put on my lips. So I am going to be using the Jaclyn Hill palette. I've been playing around with this for the past maybe week and a half or 2 weeks, and I've really been enjoying the eyeshadows. They're really good. So yeah, I wanted to do a fun holiday look. Today I'm going to be doing a like dark hunter smoky green. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get started. So I am going to have you zoomed in real close so you can see what I'm doing. And the first thing I'm going to do is use an eyeshadow base. So this is the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, and if you don't have an eyeshadow base like I do, then you can just use a little bit of concealer, like a little bit, so it's not like it doesn't get all creasy. Or you could use a little bit of foundation if you have that. Basically anything to kind of make sure that the eyeshadow stays put, because you don't want all this work to be for nothing. So I'm just applying this starting at the base of my lashes, on my lid, and then whatever's left over, I'm just like bringing that up to my eyebrow. And then I'm going to take just a little bit more of that like on the tip of my finger, and I'm going to put that right underneath, because we're also going to be putting eyeshadow on the lower lash line. And you want to make sure that it is also going to last there. Like for me, this is the place where the eyeshadow like first disappears. So if I'm doing a really dramatic look, I always like to put like a base or a primer under there. So once I have that on, then I am going to start with the eyeshadow. So I'm going to start off with this big fluffy crease brush. This is the C330 Pro Blending Crease Brush from Crown, and I love it because it's nice and fluffy and big. So the first color I'm taking from the Jaclyn Hill palette is going to be this one right here, the third one in from the top. There we go. So I'm going to start putting that right above my crease, so in this space right here instead of like actually in my crease. And this is just going to help blend everything out once we're done. Just going back and forth until that's nice and blended in the crease. Grab a little bit more just to build that up a little bit. So then I'm going to go in with my ultimate favorite blending brush from Crown Brush again. This one is the SS027 Deluxe Blending Crease Brush. You can see I love it. It's my favorite. I use it in all of my videos. So with this brush, I am going to go in with a darker brown. So I'm going to go in with this one right here, which is the lightest of the darker browns. And I'm going to take that and just put it a little bit lower into my crease. So I'm just going to create basically a smoky eye with these dark colors first, and then we'll add the fun green. So I'm just putting that a little bit lower in my crease, and I'm going the whole way in. Since this is going to be a smokier eye, you don't want to leave this light back here in the front of the eye. I just like to wipe off the brush on my, I have a little towel, and I like to like take off as much powder off of the brush so I could go around and blend my edges. because you want it to be smoky, not harsh. You don't want any harsh lines. It's not cute. So once I have that color on, then I'm going to switch brushes. So I'm going to take a like a smaller brush that will pack on the shadow. So this is where I'm going in with the greens. So I'm going to be taking this super dark green right here in the middle of the palette, and I'm going to be using these two colors. So this is the super dark green, and then the really light pretty shimmery green. So with that dark green on a flat shader brush like this one, I'm going to grab some of that. I'm going to tap off the excess because you don't want any fallout, or as little fallout as possible, because these are a little soft. And then I'm going to start stamping this all over my lid. And I'm like pressing down on it, not swiping, because if you swipe, then you will get fallout, and you don't want fallout. So I'm just pressing it in, going all the way into my inner corner, and just keeping that pretty low on my lash line, because then we'll go in and blend, and then that'll kind of bring it up a little bit more. But we want to keep it nice and low to begin with. Make sure you're tapping off, and then I'm just patting that in until it's nice and dark. Because sometimes you might want to do a dark eye like this before your foundation, so that way you don't get any really like too much fallout on your skin. But I already did my foundation, and I'm just being very careful, so I don't. Right. So now that I have the green on there, I am going to take a small little tiny blending brush. So this is my favorite blending brush, and then this is the other one that I'm using. So you can see it's much smaller. It's basically the same shape, but it's like and small. So I'm going to take some more of that green. Oh, there we go. Some more of that green on the tip, tap it off, and then I'm going to start blending that into the crease. So just a little bit more into the crease than I put it in with the shader brush. So I'm working that nice and softly, trying to get a nice good blend, because that's the point of putting those darker browns in there, so you can blend this out super easily. So I'm just going back and forth right in here, making sure it's nice and blended. Get a little bit more. Now I'm going to switch back to my bigger blending brush, the one that we use that dark brown with, and I'm going to go right around those edges of the green. And these eyeshadows are actually pretty impressive. I did a first impressions when the first time I used the palette, and I will have that linked below if you want to check that out. It is like, these shadows are pretty impressive. Like, I was not expecting too much from Morphe. I don't know, they just seemed kind of not like a very good brand to me. But the eyeshadows are top notch. Like, these are really good. And they blend really nicely with each other. So I just went in and grabbed a little bit more of the green on my flat brush and just patted that in. Because when you're blending back and forth, these dark colors can sometimes like disappear a little bit just because of the blending. So I'm just making sure that that green is nice and intense. I'm actually going to bring up that green a little bit more here. Since I have a slight hooded eye, I want you to be able to see a little bit more of that green when my eye is like open and facing you once I have my lashes on. So I like to put some right here so you can actually see that nice blend. But if you don't have a hooded eye, then you don't have that issue, and you should be okay with just blending into your crease. So just gonna blend that out with my big brush. So with my big brush, I'm going to go back into that darker brown that we used in the beginning. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that and go right over that green. Here we go. So I'm going back and forth, just blending that out. Super pretty colors, I love it. And one more time, I'm just going to go back in and with my shader brush and just apply more of that green to kind of intensify it. You have to be super patient with a smoky eye because it is not the easiest thing in the world. And if you're not used to kind of blending and applying and blending and applying, you might give up before, you know, before you should, before it's actually done. So that is pretty good right there. I'm just gonna take my powder brush and kind of go over my under eye to make sure I get all that fallout away. So I'm just gonna finish this eye so that we're not jumping back and forth. And I am gonna be using this teeny tiny brush. So this is another one from Crown Brushes. These are my favorite brushes ever. This is the pointed crease brush, and you can see how teeny tiny that is. It's perfect. So I'm gonna take the dark brown again, that same one we used for the top lashes, and I'm just gonna pop that color on the lower lashes. And I am just gonna go all the way in to the inner corner because this is a smoky eye. And I actually wore this to my Thanksgiving dinner with my family. And I loved it. It's so pretty. So I am taking the smaller blending brush, and I cleaned it off so it doesn't have anything. And I'm just gonna blend that brown out a little bit more. And once I have that smoked out, I'm going to take that tiny brush again, into that dark green, and that is going to go on the lower lashes as well. And I have contacts in, so sometimes this powder goes in and kind of makes my eyes uncomfortable, and that's why I blink kind of weird, if you were ever wondering. So back in with my blending brush, the small one, and I'm just gonna make sure that's smoked out. And you can take this as low as, or keep it as small as you want. I'm kind of going for it a little bit more here. Why not? It's the holidays. So for my inner corner, I am going to take the second one here. It's a little bit brighter, and I'm just going to put some of that on my finger, and I'm just going to use that to highlight my inner corner. This highlight is very blinding. I love it. And for the inner corner, it's great. And this will help open up the eyes too. With all this dark going on, you want to kind of still make them be nice and bright. Alright, so now that we have the green smoky, I am going to be taking that green, that second green, the shimmery color on my finger. So I found that that is the best way to apply these shimmery shades with your finger. So I am going to take a little bit of that. I love that. It's so pretty. And I'm going to go right on to the center of my lid with that. So I'm just going to tap it on, kind of get it worked in there. It is so pretty. Let me see. I think I might have used a brush last time too. So I'm going to take a little flat, small shader brush. I'm going to apply some of that. So this one has a ton of fallout, so just be aware of that. It's pretty, but it's like I could feel it falling on my face. And it also might be my brush. So let me see, let me try with a synthetic brush. This is the one from the Naked palette. Take a little bit of that. Yeah, I still get fallout with that one too. So just be careful with that color. You get a lot of fallout. So with this palette, the only thing I wish it had was a matte highlight. So like one of these should have been matte, I think. Because I like to highlight my brow bone with a matte color. So I'm gonna go in with my very sad Too Faced palette. It's like, it like fell apart, like the lid just fell off. But I'm gonna take this matte highlight shade that's right here. That's one of my favorites. As you can see, I've hit pan like a million years ago. So I'm gonna take, let's see, I'll do this one. So I have another one of these big brushes from the beginning, from the first ones. So I'm gonna take some of that and put that right under my brow. Just kind of smoke that out a little bit. And I did do my eyebrows already, if you haven't noticed. Those are done, so you can just speed through this. So to finish off the eye look, I just want to add a little bit more highlight to my lid. So I'm going to take this first shade here that's a little lighter, and I'm going to take it on my finger. And I'm just going to pop that right in the center. Right in the center, and then just blend it out. And that'll just, you see that it like popped it out way more. And don't mind my little mole. So next is my eyeliner. So I'm gonna do that really quick, and I'm just doing a really thin line across the top, because with a smoky eye you don't really have to do too much like wing or anything. I usually don't do a wing when I do a smoky eye. So easy. Alright, so now that I have my eyeliner on, I'm going to let that set. So I'm quickly going to do the other eye and then I'll be right back. So I have both eyes